Dribbles through a couple of Nuggets defenders, puts up the floater. What? 32 points, 10 rebounds, 7 dunks.
It's fun to feel like myself a little bit, you know, playing this game. This was what I love, so I'm just finally, being myself a little bit. So that's why I was smiling the whole game.
That's the Luka that we all accustomed to. I've been watching over the last 7 years. Especially you get that left side of the floor step back on. Pretty damn dangerous, and big time game coming tonight.
NBA analyst Quentin Richardson joins us now, and J.J. Redick said after the game that Luka needs to be the guy to control the offense. What did you see from him last night, Q?
I mean, exactly what Luka said. He started to look more like himself, started to feel like he's getting comfortable in his new surroundings and settling in. And we all know that Luka is a bad man. So whenever he does get comfortable, these are the type of things you're going to see. I think we're going to see much more of this moving forward with JJ putting the ball in his hand the way he did.
Well, L.A. went 7 for 11 off of his passes last night. That's pretty good, including 7 for 7 on 2-pointers, Q. And next up for Luka and the Lakers, it's a home game against Dallas on Tuesday. The first time Luka's going to see his former team since being traded. He had some fire last night, didn't he? Just some good reaction after making some of those shots. What do you expect on Tuesday in L.A.?
I think this was right on time, man. You got to take your hat off to J.J. Redick and the staff for going into the break and figuring something out and coming out of the break with a game plan where they giving Luka the ball and making him more comfortable, making him the focal point. And with him leading the way and having a game like this right before the Dallas game, anybody who played and who's left the team and had to play against their old team, you see red when you see them. So with him having this 30-point game and
Jay's got all the power. Jay, can you do that, please? How about this, Luka? Little magic last night, right? Against their nemesis, the Denver Nuggets team they just can't seem to beat. Look at this. Right away, Luka to LeBron. Oh, okay. Here's what you can expect. Midway through the first. Okay, now Luka's going to knock down a deep three. Seemed to be playing with some fire, some emotion last night. 16 points in the first quarter. Now late in the second, and they really had, no AD, if people worried about that rim protection, but they just absolutely smothered Nikola Jokic. Sends that one out of bounds. He really had a tough game. Being double teamed here. Was looking to pass to Eric Gordon, but sent it out of bounds again. He had 6 turnovers, his worst game in a while. And then Luka and LeBron just kept connecting. I love this. Oh, man, that's what every Laker fan wants to see. Let's have more of that. We'll all sign up for that. Next Lakers possession. Here goes Luka again, pulling up for the three. And the Lakers lead 63-54 at the half. Again, against a Denver team. They lost 5 in a row. Just couldn't figure out a way to beat these guys. But here goes Luka. Again, he was 4 of 9 from 3-point range. And Austin Reeves, this is just a beauty. Love watching Austin Reeves play, too. Such a good player. Lakers lead by 9 after the missed free throw. And Jokic, I said it just wasn't his night. Look at this pass. This is picked off by Luka. Luka takes it in for the layup, and it's a laugher for the Lakers. They're up 18 in Denver. And the next possession, Luka,
we know, and this is right on time for the game going into Dallas, because when you play against your old team, I don't care what happens on Monday. It won't be because Luka isn't trying. He's going to try and give them 40. I know that.
Yeah, you speak from experience. You've faced a couple of former teams back in the day, right, Q?
Absolutely. Whenever you play against your old team, I don't care what your role is or how many points you average, you try and turn it up. You break a few plays, you take a few extra shots, and you try and get your game off against your old team every time.
Going to be a lot of fun to watch. Lakers 4th in the West, just percentage points ahead of Houston. Q, we'll see you back in a bit. Thanks.
And a developing story on SportsCenter from our NBA insider Shams Charania. Spurs head coach Greg Popovich is not expected to return this season, as his NBA future is uncertain. He continues to recover from a stroke that he suffered in November. The 76-year-old Popovich is both the oldest coach and the winningest coach in NBA history after taking over in San Antonio during the 96-97 season. Now, the news on Popovich capping a difficult week for the franchise, as the Spurs announcing Thursday that Victor Wembanyama will miss the rest of the season with a blood clot issue in his shoulder. In Boston, which you're just talking about, 1 Eastern on ABC, the Celtics hosting the Knicks in a long-standing rivalry. These teams are second and third in the East. Could be a playoff preview. ESPN Analytics gives these two teams a 52% chance to meet in the conference semis. The Celtics have dominated the series recently, winning 6 of the last 7, including winning both games this season by 20-plus points. In both those games, Jason Tatum eclipsing 35 points. And the Knicks coming off a 37-point loss against the Cavaliers on Friday, their worst loss on the...
Let's see if the Knicks can make that stand today.
All right, let's dig into the Celtics, who've won 8 of their last 9. What are you seeing with Boston, especially defensively?
Honestly, I've been saying this all year about the Celtics. I know people were looking at them as having an inconsistent year, certainly not on the level in the regular season that they were a year ago. And I just kept saying, look, you can't replicate hunger and desperation. This was a team that was on a journey and a quest, particularly with Tatum and Brown all these years to get a title. They finally did that. They broke through. And when you do that, your offseason is different. The following mentality, the regular season the next year is a little different. And I knew it was going to kick in, and I think it's kicking in right now. They can smell the playoffs around the corner, and you're starting to see now that level of versatility defensively that we saw last year that was just too much for teams to deal with, really on both ends of the floor. But Boston right now defensively is connected. They're playing with a lot of energy and pressure out on the floor. Porzingis is back there roaming, and it gives them a different look defensively when he's in the middle of the lane. So right now, Boston really, to me, what it comes down to is they just got serious because they know there's a short sprint now until you get to the postseason. It's going to be unlikely that they catch the Cleveland Cavaliers for the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. I think they've kind of understand that. That's a big gap to make up. But that's okay. Boston just knows that if they're in a good place come playoff time, they don't care if they have to go on the road and win a series potentially in the conference finals. They're about playing to their highest level, and right now they're starting to do that, having won 8 out of 9.
All right, Knicks and Celtics tipping off 1 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Cleveland and OKC this season, the best 3 teams in the NBA. And look who it is, Tim Legler.
Legs. Must be a big day.
I know, right? Tim Legler on the call. He joins us now from Boston. Tim, let's start with the Knicks. Why have they struggled against some of the best teams in the league?
Well, first, I just want to say it's fun to be here with 2 of my favorite people on a Sunday morning.
Yes.
So we're a better place to be than this. Look, this is a big one for the Knicks because at some point you've got to have a sample size of success defensively against these top offensive teams. But if you look at the Knicks, they really are a different element right now in what they're doing defensively compared to a year ago. You lose Hartenstein, you lose Dante DiVincenzo. Like, those are 2 energy guys that brought a lot to the table. OG Anunoby's been banged up. Josh Hart's been banged up a little bit. You don't have Mitchell Robinson. Karl Anthony Towns is not really a super physical defender, either is Mikal Bridges. So the look is different for the Knicks. This is more of a team now that is going to beat you offensively. Their identity is not as much on the defensive end of the floor, which is what you've come to know out of the Knicks, and certainly any team that Tom Thibodeau coaches. But that's not really who they are. But they certainly have to find some level of physicality at the point of attack and containing the basketball. That's been their biggest problem. They have allowed teams, when they've played these high-powered teams, to get going and get loose and get comfortable early in games. And certainly you saw that against Boston the last time they played when the Celtics completely dismantled them. You saw it the other night against the Cavaliers when the Cavaliers get 4 dunks on their first 4 field goals of the game. There has to be at some point you draw a line in the sand at the start of the game that you're not going to allow teams to get into a comfort zone